are listening to the Redefining Wealth podcast with Patrice Washington, and we are diving into the people pillar today. Listen, at Redefining Wealth, we understand that wealth is so much more than money and material possessions. What we focus on are the six pillars of wealth. These are all the parts of your life that impact your finances, even when you are not thinking about it. And when we are well in these areas, we get to experience what wealth really is, because the original 12th century definition of wealth says it's all about the condition of well being and happiness. But how can we be well when we are entertaining toxic relationships? When we are staying up at night or pacing, walking around on eggshells, trying to figure out how to keep entertaining these relationships, right? We can't keep complaining about spirits that we keep entertaining. And today I wanted to talk about three spirits that I have grown to understand I just cannot tolerate and I cannot entertain in this season of my life: the work. Now, I want to clarify that when I say spirit, I'm not talking about supernatural beings. I'm talking about those pervasive energies and attitudes and auras that usually are expressed through someone's actions. And so these energies can influence our environment and our personal vibrational frequency. Everything is energy, and we get to choose the energy that aligns with our vision and how we want to feel, who we want to be, just what the vibe is of our life and environment. And because we always connect things to the six pillars of wealth, what have learned is as we do the work in programs like Pillar Mastery, or as you are taking the pillar assessment, which, yes, you now have access to, you can click the link in the show notes to be able to see where you are in the pillars. What a lot of people come to is that in order for me to truly redefine wealth for myself, I'm going to have to create some new governing decisions about who I be in relationship, how I show up in relationship, and what I am entertaining in relationship. And this is not just your romantic partnerships. This is in your friendships. This is with your coworkers. This is with anyone that you choose to allow in your life. There are going to be energies that will disrupt your harmony if you allow it. And so, as you're doing the work in the pillars, we believe in systems theory, which says, listen, if you start to do work in one pillar, you should expect that it is going to impact the others. So, as you may be working on your fit pillar or on your faith pillar or space pillar, do not be surprised that you have to start shifting some things in the people pillar. Why? Because as you get clear, there are certain spirits that will become intolerable. And after the affirmation of the week, I'm going to dive into three of the spirits that I have learned do not work for me in this season. And I hope that they will help you stop entertaining those types of toxic spirits as well. This week's affirmation is: I deserve relationships that align with my frequency. I am clear about my desire for connections that uplift, inspire, and challenge me to evolve in harmony with my highest self. I confidently release relationships that no longer align with my values because I deeply trust that better is always available to me. I trust that as I let go, individuals who reflect my values, dreams, and vibrational level will be presented to me. I am no longer a match for energy that contradicts my core beliefs, and I no longer tolerate misalignment in favor of appearing nice. Each interaction is a step towards a community of like hearted souls, where every relationship I encounter enriches my life and I enrich theirs. This is alignment. This is abundance. This is awakening. And this is what my spiritual, personal, and professional growth demands. Declare with me today: I deserve relationships that align with my frequency. So, as you get clear on who you want to be in the six pillars of wealth, first of all, you awaken to what no longer serves you. And then you get radically honest about what you genuinely desire. What you will start to form are governing decisions. That is a term that I learned from Sherry Salata, who I actually need to have on the podcast. I'll have to reach out to her. But Sherry did a deep dive master mentor training in one of my programs years ago and gave us this language because it wasn't about needing to have boundaries with people. It was about getting clear that governing decisions teach you how you want to live your life or allow you to declare how you want to live your life, irrespective of who the people are, regardless of who the names are, who the characters are, who the faces are. How do you want to live your life? And as I continue to do this work right alongside you, just a few months ago, I got really, really clear. I had already declared the governing decisions in my personal life, but I got really clear about how this looks in my professional life when something just feels off. And I was talking to my coach about a particular situation, and she said, "Oh, that sounds like a spirit of confusion." And then as I sat with that over the next few days, it really got clear for me that there are three spirits. Again, these are energies, these are auras, these are ways of being, attitudes that just don't align with who I am. And as you continue to do the work through the pillars, I'm telling you, there are certain energies that will become intolerable. And I wanted to give voice to some of that for you today. So let's go through the three that I am no longer tolerating in this season or hopefully ever again in my life. I wanted to give voice to three of the spirits or energies that I just refuse to tolerate in this season of my life. Number one is the spirits of confusion. Mm. This is any energy that promotes chaos or lack of direction or ambiguity, mixed signals, right? I have really come to embrace the power of clear communication and the power of radical honesty. It is the hallmark of any relationship that I want to have in this season of my life. And I have recognized how many people, unfortunately, are so used to inconsistent, unclear communication that they have normalized it and even romanticized it and tried to intellectualize it. But it is something that I no longer will participate in because that spirit of confusion is so time consuming when you think about being in relationship with someone, again, any type of relationship, where every time they present you with something or say something, you have to second guess, you have to question, you're confused, there's like no clarity, you don't have peace around it. It just creates more work than is actually necessary. So, take for example, a friend that you may have where every time there's time to plan a trip or plan going out or plan some type of event, there's so much vagueness and inconsistent communication that there's constant confusion about, well, are we actually going? Well, if we're going, when are we going? Well, where are we going? Well, how are we going to get there? They're never just concrete plans. That is just a small example of a spirit of confusion, right? They're always changing plans last minute. And if they do, they don't give you any real reason. Um, there's no definitive answer on what the reschedule is or what you're postponing it, when you're postponing it to, or there's just nothing. There is this constant, I want to see you, I miss you, I love you. And then everything about their actions and their follow through says something different. When I was writing my ideal partner list, one of my things was I want no ambiguity about who we are. And you guys got to meet my partner in an episode a few weeks back. And that is something that I really have become more rooted in because of that relationship. My romantic partnership has taught me that when I am seeking clarity, I am not seeking too much. The only people who want you to be confused are people who actually don't care the way that they say they do, or they're too absorbed with whatever they have going on, or they just thrive in a spirit of confusion. And so for them, they have normalized it. But for you, it just doesn't feel good anymore. It doesn't feel good at all. It never did. But now you're willing to give voice to the fact that it doesn't. Because at the end of the day, when you are in relationship with someone and there is constant ambiguity, there is constant uncertainty, there is constant confusion, that erodes trust. It is too challenging to maintain a healthy, supportive, mutually beneficial relationship when there is a constant spirit of confusion. You just can't do it. It doesn't matter how hard you try, it doesn't matter how much you want it to be that. At the end of the day, if that spirit of confusion is resting on them and you can never get a straight answer, you're never going to get a straight answer. And why would we keep complaining about being in a relationship like that when we're the ones who keep entertaining the spirit of confusion? Same thing goes at work. Maybe you are collaborating with colleagues or managers who just communicate poorly. Maybe there's a project leader who provides, again, instructions with so much ambiguity. Maybe they're always shifting the goals without notice. You always seem to feel like you're falling behind, even when you thought that you were ahead of the game because they changed something and confused the whole project, confused the whole scope. And now you're made to feel inefficient. You're made to feel like you're the one not on top of it. You're missing deadlines. This contributes to a toxic work environment. Nobody wants to deal with that. No one can thrive in that type of environment. And for us as entrepreneurs, oh my gosh, if you are building a team as a small business owner or as an entrepreneur, our desire is to pay for peace. But many of us find ourselves funding frustration. Why? Because we tolerate a spirit of confusion. People will come onto this team, take your money, and tell you that they do XYZ. And then when you expect that from them, they try to turn the story and flip it into all types of other things, their personal lives, um, what else they have going on, the fact that they have other clients. You ask them for feedback or for follow-up, and then they're giving you everything under the sun except what you asked for and what you paid for. Spirit of confusion. And as an entrepreneur, that's too costly. I did an episode a couple years ago, and it was about me being a spirit led entrepreneur and how often I would tolerate people for too long. And I can see how my governing decisions have made the spirit of confusion intolerable and how it's reduced the amount of time I spend with people who have that spirit. Whereas I may have kept someone on my team for a year and a half in the past, I got it down to like 8 months. Then I got it down to like 4 months. And now I can feel it and tell within weeks. And if it is just not aligned with my energy, I release them sooner, quicker, faster. I have been delivered. I have been delivered from giving people the benefit of the doubt all the time. We have been taught that we need to hire slowly and fire quickly. And a part of that ability to do that is recognizing a spirit of confusion on people. That no matter how much clarity you provide, how many training videos you give, how much direction you give, how much you try to spell it out, they still are committed to confusion. They're still committed to confusion. But you have to be committed as a business owner to your bottom line. You have to be committed to the people who are assigned to you. When you are dealing with a spirit of confusion, you are not showing up as present as you could for the people that you actually serve and for the work that you're being called to do. So that spirit of confusion is costing you your calling. It's not worth it. Stop entertaining it. The second spirit I no longer tolerate in this season is a spirit of manipulation. Oh my God. Oh my God. People who think that they are so clever, right? And they can, twist words and manipulate scenarios in order to mislead you. I don't do people who do a lot of word tricks or use a lot of semantics. You ask them a question and they give you that vague answer. And it's not until you dig and ask for more clarity. They're like, oh, I didn't know that's what you meant. That's a mix of confusion and manipulation. Don't like it, don't want it. If you've ever dealt with anyone with a toxic personality trait, and I don't go around, labeling people as narcissistic, but for this episode, that is a term that I think we're more familiar with in this season. We didn't have it. We didn't have this language years ago. But we don't just assign it to people, but there are some ways of being that we have learned more and more over these years can be attributed to those types of toxic personality traits. And in that spirit of manipulation, something that we often encounter is gaslighting. And people typically only talk about this when it comes to romantic relationships. But again, this is about any relationship because I have learned, ooh, over this last year or so, that you will have girlfriends, people who call themselves your friend. You think that they are your friend, who actually participate in gaslighting, right? Making you doubt what you know you read, what you know you heard, what you know you saw. You're doubting your perception, you're doubting your memory. And if it gets really bad, you will doubt your sanity, right? So you will reference something and they will say, well, you're imagining that, or you're just being too sensitive, or I don't recall it that way. Baby, no. Redefining wealth is about redefining, being clear about how you want to feel in relationship and being in relationship with anyone that is constantly making you question your sanity. That is rooted in a spirit of manipulation. If you have to keep asking, am I crazy? Like, am I tripping? Did I misunderstand that? And you know good and hell well what you heard, what you saw, what you felt. Because those same people will turn around and then minimize the abuse, psychological abuse, verbal abuse, the whole context of what happened. They will literally pretend like it didn't happen. They will tell you you're blowing things out of proportion or give you one of those apologies. Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. What? Absolutely not. Right? I've been in deals with people where there was an opportunity to have a meeting and they called me first and said, hey, when we get on the meeting, I don't like XYZ, but can you just say it? And I'm like, why would I need to say what you don't like? Why does it need to be presented as if it's coming from me? That was my first hint that, I think that there's a spirit of manipulation going on here that I don't want to participate in. And I am so grateful for having the governing decision that says, hey, this is how you want to feel in any relationship you enter. And if these spirits are present, that is a demand for your absence. You are not to participate in any friendship, partnership, relationship that is rooted in that type of behavior. It does not align with the integrity you say you want to live your life with. So do not participate. Do not participate. And I want to give voice to one more because sometimes we just see the negative, and sometimes that's the one that you can discern a little bit more. But let me also say that in the spirit of manipulation, you may experience manipulative flattery. Those are the ones that are sneaky. Those are the ones that are very subtle. If you've ever been in some type of toxic relationship, you'll experience this potentially as love bombing, but it's not just in your romantic life. It could be a new friend. It could be another parent at your child's school. It could be a team member that you have hired. It could be a coworker. And it really starts out with tons of compliments and lots of flattery. Oh my gosh, you are so pretty. You are so reliable. You are the only person I could rely on. Like your gifts, oh my gosh, you are just, and they're just constantly gassing you up, constantly gassing you up. But what they're doing is trying to gain control of the little relationship here so that when they do what they are bound to do, some type of unscrupulous little behavior later on, you already feel a sense of connectedness. You already feel a sense of obligation toward them. You already feel like you're in too deep. And this is when we start to ration out lies. We start to ignore our own feelings, dismiss the discomfort that we have in their presence. We start to squint and look at them a little hard, but then we say, nah, it's just me. It's not them, it's me. I need to give people the benefit of the doubt. Oh, they had a rough upbringing. Oh, they used to be in a toxic work environment. They just have to be here long enough to see that I'm the real deal. I'm a real friend. I'm a genuine person. I have a good heart. I'm kind. Baby, they already saw that, and that's what they're attacking. That spirit is already preying, Preying, on everything that you may be listing. Stop romanticizing, stop intellectualizing, and learn that soul awareness is about trusting what you feel deeply. We have to learn to trust ourselves, especially with these types of spirits and in these scenarios. And number three, the spirit of delusion. Now, I'm the first to say that in order to accomplish a big vision, you need a little healthy bit of delusion. I talked about this in a live that I did in the Redefining Wealth app. Out of the 5 drivers for vision, one of them is delusion. Sometimes you have to be out of touch with reality to truly see your vision come to fruition. Totally get that. In that sense, delusion is okay. But when we're talking about the spirit of delusion, it is people who are so out of touch with reality. They are overly optimistic without any grounds, or they participate in a lot of self deceptive behavior. And when you are around people and spirits who participate in a lot of self deceptive behavior, I haven't read the book yet, but I'm going to tell you the name, and I know you heard it. Mel Robbins, Let Them. Baby, let those people be great. Let those spirits be. But as far as you taking all of your time, your energy, your wisdom, your money, all of the things to think that you're somehow going to change something for them, I don't know if we're delusional or they're delusional, but in any case, it's unhealthy. It is unhealthy. I had an example for you. Some years ago, I was talking to someone in the financial services industry, and they were trying to get me to invest in something. And so every time I asked questions about, risk and what would happen if there was a default or anything like this, they only wanted to focus on being overly optimistic, you know? And you never know with these things. We have to have a certain level of risk tolerance or know what our risk tolerance is so that we know what types of things we should be investing in. If you ever speak to someone who's like, no, this is fail proof. It's always going to be fine. You're going to make all the money. Just come over here and do this thing. Spirit of delusion. You need to run. You need to run. If someone is just predicting double digit investment returns, regardless of the market conditions, regardless of what's going on, like in broader economic, terms and indicators, you need to run. You don't need to be investing your all in someone's delusional advice. Because when you end up with significant financial losses, they're going to tell you where it's an investment and you should have just done more research. And you're going to say, but I trusted you. Why did you trust the spirit of delusion? Is that their fault? Is that our fault? Thankfully, in that particular scenario, I walked away. However, I haven't always walked away, which is why I'm saying these are spirits that I'm no longer tolerating. I haven't always walked away. I've hired marketing people, I've hired ads people. Of this, for me, it always comes back to like team members or relationships and like personal relationships. And if we're radically honest, I'm radically honest. When I look back, I felt the delusion. I saw the delusion. I knew it didn't make sense. And sometimes, even when we speak up, we don't trust ourselves enough to follow through with the untying. Because the thing is, I'm not one to burn bridges. I really do my best not to burn bridges. I don't just cut people off, but I'm radically honest about my governing decisions. Now, when people hear my radical honesty, sometimes they can take offense to that. I'm also completely okay with people who are committed to offense. because me being honest about what I can tolerate in this season of my life shouldn't make you offended unless you want to take advantage of me. Because my radical honesty is not to remove your dignity, it's to stop betraying my soul. So if I'm being honest about, you know, needing clarity in our communication, or I'm being honest about wanting a deep dive on the details, stop tiptoeing around it and leaving things ambiguous and all that stuff. If I'm saying, hey, I need, again, like direct communication, or I need to know what's going on, and you're intentionally trying to mislead me through your response, well, to me, that says that you want to burn a bridge, that you don't want the relationship. But I'm always going to try to untie first. Because at the end of the day, it's my job to identify these spirits that are misaligned with my values and with the vision that I say I have. Redefining wealth for me comes with the value of peace and simplicity and joy. And nothing about these spirits equals that. If I say I desire simplicity, a spirit of do too much and overwhelm is not a match. If I say I desire radical honesty, then a spirit of manipulation is not a match. If I say I desire clarity and just grounded advice, then someone who carries a spirit of delusion is not a match. Now, delusion about your vision is another thing, but go listen to that. It's in the Redefining Wealth app, right? So I just stopped by today to say, reflect on your life and identify where you might be entertaining these spirits or some others that your soul is now telling you this is not a match for us. We need to release this because you want to make a conscious choice to untie from those energies. We can never recondition what we won't allow ourselves to recognize. You have to give voice to the values you say you want and be willing to recognize the spirits that don't align with that. We have caused too much harm to ourselves, to our souls, to our purpose, to our calling, to our financial capacity because we keep harming ourselves and putting ourselves through trying to force relationships that have expired. And for some of us, we keep entering and then entertaining relationships, partnerships, friendships that are misaligned and causing ourselves spiritual suicide. Why would we keep choosing that? Redefining wealth is redefining how we want to feel, even in communication. We don't have to make people wrong. We don't have to make them bad, but we do get to be real and honor what feels right for us. This is about authenticity. It's about alignment. And those two are about getting us to accelerated abundance. We need to refine our environments, our relationships, our internal states, and cultivate wealth in all parts of our lives. And these spirits do not allow you to do that. So instead of calling your friend, complaining to your therapist, talking to your mama about it over and over again, stop complaining about the spirits that you keep entertaining. This is a big part of how you can redefine wealth and move confidently in the untying of some relationships in this season. I hope this is a blessing to you. Please share this episode, put it in the group chat, share it with some of your friends who need to hear this, the ones that keep coming to you complaining about stuff that they have the power to control, acting as if they don't know what's happening. Maybe they just need to get the language down or hear a voice, right, that affirms and confirms what they're experiencing. So send this to a friend that needs it, and please rate and review the podcast. Every time you do, it pushes us up in the algorithms and it just allows other people to get access to this type of content and wisdom and what it means to redefine wealth for yourself. I hope it's a blessing for you. Drop a comment. Let me know if you've encountered any of these spirits. I'm pretty sure you have. And what you think about this episode. And as always, an open invite to come into the Redefining Wealth app where I go live right now every single day. And this was actually encouraged, this topic and talking about it publicly was actually encouraged by me supporting someone during one of the lives who talked about basically a relationship that had gone awry. And I explained to her about these spirits I'm no longer tolerating. And the community asked me to make this episode. And so that is where you can catch me every single day doing a deep dive into all these types of topics for absolutely free. You can download the Redefining Wealth app on your Android or iOS device, and I hope to catch you in there sometime soon. Uh, that's it for me. Until next week, I want you to go live your life's purpose, find fulfillment, and earn more without ever feeling like you have to chase money. I'll talk to you later.